Hey, Dena here. I had a couple of announcements that I would have wanted to make pretty soon anyway, plus I just saw a movie that I wanted to talk about while it was fresh on my mind, so I figured I'd do a little vlog this week. First of all, I wanted to let you guys know that even though I've been putting up Let's Play videos weekly, I'm going to skip a week pretty soon. On September 6th, I will be featured on Channel Awesome, and I'm already working on a film den for that. And since those are my main videos and get way more views than my Let's Play videos do, I wanted to have only those for that week without a Let's Play video interrupting it. So part 16 of my Soul Reaver Let's Play will not be going up on September 6th as it normally would, but it will go up on September 13th and it'll continue from there. I don't know if anyone would have even noticed if I skipped a week, but I figured I'd let you guys know just in case. Also, I'm getting a little ahead of myself here, but again, this is something I would have announced at some point anyway. For my October videos, I am taking a break from Silent Hill this year. Mainly I've gotten all the main games out of the way, so it feels less urgent to do Silent Hill every year. Also, I'm a little burned out on being beholden to doing something Silent Hill related every October whether I want to or not, so I'm actually considering just totally breaking that tradition and still do Silent Hill related videos occasionally, but just when I want to. So we'll see. Either way, no Silent Hill this year. And finally, I'm not one of those people who normally vlogs about movies they just saw, but, well, I saw Pete's Dragon and felt like talking about it. I really don't get to the movies very often. Usually it's to see one of the MCU movies or just the occasional thing I heard rave reviews about and/or I fell in love with the trailer, or my husband really wanted to see it, so I tagged along. In this case, it was my birthday, and I'm just kind of used to seeing a movie for my birthday, and since there aren't any MCU movies currently out in theaters or anything else I really wanted to see, I just kind of settled on Pete's Dragon. And it's funny because I usually avoid remakes. Maybe someday I'll make a video that really puts together my thoughts on remakes, but generally, most of the ones that come out these days are soulless cash grabs whose only purpose is to cash in on nostalgia. And yes, I know not all remakes, but it's enough of them that I'm fairly comfortable skipping most of them. And I don't see that many movies anyway, and I'm definitely not a professional movie critic, not of new movies at least. So just skipping a movie is not a big deal to me, so spare me the lecture about judging movies before I see them. Anyway, what makes Pete's Dragon reasonable remake fodder for me is that while I grew up on the original version and I loved it as a kid, it doesn't hold up so well when you're an adult. I actually think it's maybe not so good in retrospect. Granted, it's been ages since I watched the whole thing, but I'm pretty sure it wouldn't hold up for me now. Technically, they are cashing in on nostalgia, but they aren't taking something that was perfect the way it was and putting out a half-assed new version to make money. They actually improved on it, which ideally is the purpose of a remake to begin with. But anyway, I watched Chris Stuckman's review of this movie on whim, and not only did he rave about it, but he showed clips of the trailer, which I had not seen before. I had heard that the dragon was going to be furry, which I thought was an unusual choice, but I didn't have a problem with it. What I didn't realize is how much it was going to look like a giant kitty. And you guys know me with cats, so I said to my husband, I kind of want to see this movie now. So when my birthday came, my husband asked me, do you want to see Pete's Dragon tonight? So I went, sure, why not? And I'm actually really glad I did. I will admit that for the first third of the movie, I was enjoying it enough, but it wasn't quite grabbing me. I was watching it and going, well, this is cute. I'm sure kids would like it, but this could have waited for Netflix. But then after that, something clicked. This isn't really a spoiler because, like I said, I think it happens only about a third of the way through. Plus, the movie's general plot is kind of predictable, which is not a negative, by the way. Sometimes the journey is more important than the destination. There's this point where Pete has been temporarily separated from Elliot and is with this family, and Elliot finally tracks him down, only to find Pete all happy and comfortable rather than missing him, and he's crushed. And he just kind of whimpers and mopes back to the forest. I nearly cried, and it really clicked at that point how much I cared about this CGI dragon. And from that point on, I was completely enamored with this movie. Many tears were shed. So I do recommend this movie. A few years down the line, maybe I'll do a film den on it, and don't take my indifference towards the first third too much to heart. Sometimes I have to see a movie more than once to really appreciate it, and maybe I was being overly hard on it because I was taking a bit of a chance with it and I was worried I wouldn't like it. But it seems like everybody loves this movie. Brad Jones said it felt like an 80s Spielberg movie, and I agree with that actually, even though I wasn't really thinking about that while I was watching the movie. The only thing I didn't like, and this probably contributed to my not being sure if I was liking the movie at first, it has music playing during the more emotional moments, I guess. And I'm not talking about the movie score. I mean, a song would kick in with singing, and it wasn't the type of music I like. It actually kind of sounded like the Lemmy-Winks theme from South Park, and I legitimately didn't like that, and I don't think that's going to change with later viewings. But it doesn't ruin the movie. It's worth powering through those scenes to get to the rest of the movie, in my opinion. As for the dragon, it looked fantastic. I don't quite trust my own eyes when it comes to the quality of CG because there are a lot of movies out there like the Jurassic Park sequels where people complain about how bad the CGI looked, and I'm just like, it looks fine to me. But this movie is getting a lot of praise for how realistic the dragon looked, so it's not just me this time. As for the dragon's design, I loved it. I actually love it when they veer away from all the typical features that a dragon normally has and change it up a little. Because dragons don't exist, so they could theoretically look like anything, and yet people tend to go with the same general look for a dragon. So I like to see some creativity there. Also did a quick little internet search and found an article that had a quote from the director who says, "I wanted the dragon to be furry, and that's because I love my cats, and I was probably with my cat thinking, I wish this guy was 20 feet tall." I was like, look, if you put a Game of Thrones dragon in this, it would be scaly and cold, and it would be cool, but I want this to be the kind of dragon who you really want to give a hug to, and that I want to give a hug to and snuggle up with. The best way to do that was to make him furry, and there's no reason why dragons can't be furry. So I wasn't too far off in thinking that the dragon looked cat-like, and he also has a lot of cat-like and dog-like behaviors that are adorable in a realistic way instead of an over-the-top cartoony way. Like, if you love your pets, you will love this dragon. So yeah, I loved Pete's Dragon, and I recommend it. This isn't really meant to be a well-thought-out review. I just wanted to get my thoughts out there and tell you guys what I thought of this movie. That's it for now. See you next time.